working on a more artistic type of project, and have been helped by group members, especially with encouragement about getting more momentum to the actual creative practice and preparation for actually making some musical products to be able to share with people. So the title that I came up with seems kind of too flashy, but musical mobilities for activist album project. Mobility is kind of the theme of some of my research at University of Hawaii. So basically, I want to make a compilation of songs or musical pieces to both be musically pleasant to listen to, but then also teach about or raise awareness about some social issues like child displacement, as we talked about at the very beginning of this sharing session with all the inspiring work. And as we're having a lot of online venues for sharing artwork, I could use some of those, and then some other in-person venues are also maybe becoming possible, like on campus or theoretically in other settings. But this is kind of a long-term thing to work on outside of my research as a graduate student. Okay, so for just going along the steps in this action plan process, it's helpful to outline, after I came up with a long list of values, as we were looking at in other people's educational plans, I had all these theoretical ways to try and shape the project, but concretely, there are some difficulties like confidence in my own musical skill when trying to sing or do violin with multiple tracks in a recording of some covers of some songs. I need to practice, and I also need some confidence to keep up the practicing. And also it's a bit difficult to find space on campus that doesn't bother other people with like the sound, especially like living in this campus space. But pushing through that, then it's also been a bit difficult to network and find other artists to do a multiple person cover. So it's not just me, it's other people with different instruments and different styles and approaches would enrich the overall creative output. And then otherwise, for the new digital spaces, there have been some like benefit concerts or informal artwork showcase things on other organizations' websites and other venues than what I was originally thinking. It was just to like upload things to YouTube and then have like links to organizations related to the thematic content, like fundraising for displaced families along certain border areas in Southeast Asia. But yeah, there seem to be a lot of opportunities to actually share the music once it's actually made. So the making part would be important. And to do that, you need friends who can provide feedback and say, hey, does this sound good? And then be like, no, it's kind of needs some more work. So having them is useful. And then also lots of other artists I've been trying to locate as the new semester is starting. And hooray, we're going back to in-person. I've also been able to join one of the actual choir classes, which will be helpful for practicing that repertoire, which has some nice themes of like revitalization and some uplifting themes in that group setting of like 20 to 30 people. So other music students who are more professional than I am probably can help with learning how to practice that. And then other organizations can help if I like try and see if there are things that could be collaborative, transnational benefit concert type things later on. Other inspirations have come through the kits on the Seeds website, looking at like peace offering concept of just offering up small little pieces, like even if the music isn't really highly produced or has like fancy effects or fancy audio mastering and such. The concept still argues that it's good just to put some effort into sharing, even if not many people see it. And there's other musical people like doing collectives between various artists globally. There are also some like large scale choir projects that work for a certain number of months on certain themes. So maybe I'd be looking into joining some of that later on. But otherwise, there are also some arts spaces in Honolulu that I found, like Sakura Arts Collective in downtown. Um, and then there'll also be like some events on campus later on. So for sustaining, it's difficult for me to kind of keep a steady practice schedule, but I've been working on strategizing about how to actually practice and then push myself to like record drafts and then critique it instead of just trying to be perfectionist in the beginning and then um, not really make any progress on the art itself. And main thing is to enjoy the process, and then eventually, if it's enjoyed enough, then the product itself will be better and more uplifting to the people who actually see it, because the artistic energy would be more genuine, I think, and it would show in the art as a whole. So examples of the stuff that is on my growing list of things I want to like try and cover. There's things like this is a song in Japanese they found in an archive, but it was like 1970s, and this song was published in a newspaper, translated from a song that people were singing in Thailand as part of protests against military violence. So if I covered it, then it'd be like a third layer of solidarity or something, sustaining from like the 70s and reviving it today. This is a more ambitious project, this video here by Jung Jae-il. He did music to Parasite, as you might have seen, talked about class issues in South Korea, but then also this is talking specifically from like children's perspective and trying to reconnect with families and such. But this would definitely need multiple people on it. So this is more like a dream of how to accomplish this kind of piece. So like pieces on the top left, that could be like an incremental stage and then working up and getting more skill in doing this kind of thing. I could just keep adding new pieces to the collective album or collection. Also things like water crisis, and I've been trying to find like ways to express artistically to that current intensely local concern. So this was a couple weeks ago, there was some banner drawing and trying to replicate the Olei Kauai water symbol that's been created. I haven't really found a musical way to express things related to this, so that's kind of also in progress. But there's like a push towards multitasking. The original plan, or like the list of songs that I was thinking, the themes that I could cover, and then if other like critical breaking news events come up, then I kind of just need to stay flexible to see if I can like reorient or reprioritize the order of the pieces to try and raise awareness about things that are more pressing for people in my local network compared to people like farther away.
We haven't had a lot of musicians, when I reflect back, they're working to design music for impact. And I'm even thinking in our schools, we have, most of our schools have music programs. And, how do we really inspire our music leaders and those that are teaching our students to think differently about the songs? I'm harkening back to complaints that my daughters had about the choice of their chorus songs that they had to sing. And I'm sure we've all been there. But just really powerful. And thank you for sharing where you're getting your inspiration from.
Yeah, thank you. I also saw, if anyone knows Jane Addams' Hull House in Chicago from like 1910s, 20s, there was, I think Eleanor Smith was a composer, and they made a series of songs about children working in factories and trying to be free from that. And there's like in the little collectives of like youth groups at that Chicago area, they were like working on those songs directly like related to the children experiencing those conditions.
We cannot have movements for social justice, for human rights. We can't really have any sustained community action without music to inspire, and instruct. It's really vital, as are the other arts. It is through storytelling that we come to care, after all.